everybody, it's Rio Doodles. There are a lot of drawing apps nowadays, and it can be kind of intimidating when you're first starting out. So what better for me, digital artist of 5 years now, to give you some apps that I'd personally recommend for people just starting out. All of these apps are free and all of them are mobile friendly, so it's very accessible for all of you. Now let's get started. I bet you've all heard of IbisPaintX. It's a pretty well-known drawing app that a lot of people use. It's on PC now, but we're going to talk about the mobile version of this app because it's the most popular and accessible. IbisPaintX is an art app released in 2011 for mobile devices, PC being released in 2022. I used this app for the first time back in summer 2018 and used it up until November 2022. It was that good. So what makes it so good? Well, the most important part of a drawing app is the feel of the program. Does it feel good to draw in? Do you feel comfortable using it for a long period of time? The answer is yes. It feels amazing to draw in. The UI is clean and clear, it's extremely user-friendly, and you will adapt to using it quite often. It has the classic shortcuts like 2 fingers to undo, 3 to redo, which is the standard for apps on mobile devices, and some drawing tablets with touchscreens. There are over 12,000 brushes in IbisPaintX, which is phenomenal, but all these brushes, well, not all of them, but most of them are locked behind a paywall with a big ol' icon saying, if you watch this ad, you can get every single brush for 18 hours. But the basic free brushes can do the job pretty well, and you may not ever have to use those other brushes. But all these brushes don't have any organization, so there is a lot of scrolling, so you should be mindful of that. The app also has tons of filters that are also behind a paywall, and there's no option to watch an ad, they're just locked behind a paywall. So the app can feel like it has an asterisk when it's said to be completely free. The paid version of the app is simply called IbisPaint, which is just IbisPaintX but no ads. IbisPaintX is full of features inside the app, which is genuinely amazing for a free app that anyone can download on their phone or a tablet or even computer now. But these features can sometimes feel like too much. Remember what I said about the brushes earlier? Same goes for the fonts in the text tool, and I'm 99.99% sure that you will likely use 1 or 2 fonts instead of the jumble of fonts they give you. It's nice, but it can feel like too much, especially with the scrolling. I experienced some lag when scrolling through the fonts. Some users also don't like the UI and say it feels cluttered. And that is the case for the mobile version of the app, well, at least on your phone, but I personally didn't find it an issue when I was using it. I also find the stabilization to be quite odd. I'm not sure how to describe it when I use my stabilization in IbisPaintX, but in Procreate or Clip Studio Paint, it feels nice. In IbisPaintX, I don't really notice a difference. There's 10 levels of stabilization, which feels very small in comparison to other apps. The ads are also pretty damn annoying, but that goes for every free art app and free apps in general. Remember what I said about the filters and the brushes being locked behind a paywall? Well, a really basic feature is also locked behind a paywall, even if you pay for the paid version of the app. An example of this is reordering your gallery. You will get a pop-up saying that you will need to pay for the seemingly basic feature of the app. I find it to be cheap and annoying. A bunch of stuff is locked behind a Prime membership, and it honestly kind of sucks. But it is what it is, I guess. I was exploring the website and saw the plans or versions of the app for the Android and iOS releases. What I discovered was troubling to me. I think the Prime membership is pretty fine. Even I would pay for it myself if I were so inclined. But I'm trying to give you a recommendation of the free version of the app. But I need to mention these things because for some users, it could possibly hinder the experience for them. IbisPaintX is also sort of a social media type thing. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it has a feature where you can share your art to the website if you have an account. I personally have never done this before, but if you want to do that, you can. You see a bunch of scrolling art when you open the app, which is a top 10 of the most popular recently made pieces posted, which I think is pretty cute and charming. People behind this app are clearly taking pride in their users, which I think is amazing. IbisPaintX is an amazing app despite all of these flaws in my opinion. I used this app for free the entire time I was actively using it to create my art. I know some people who still use the app and draw on their phones for years and still haven't left it. I find the dedication that the community has to this app to be amazing. I would most definitely recommend this app if you're a beginner who doesn't want to spend any money. Trust me, it's worth it. So if you want a free app that has a buttload of features for you to use and you don't mind the ads and cheap BS and the usual mobile ads that you have to deal with, then I recommend this app for you. It's beginner friendly, the UI is clean and user friendly. The amount of brushes you can use is astonishing, and there are some cool extra features like a text tool and a frame tool for comic artists out there. If you need all that, then I think this app is perfect for you. Next app we have here is Krita, which is another free app that people go on and on about. I've tried this app before for a scrap video that was very similar to this one that I may get back to, but I digress. Krita is an open source art program released in 2005. It is also free with no asterisk, unless you count the Steam version that isn't free, but if you go on the website, then you can download it completely for free. When I opened Krita, I hadn't used it in a very, very long time. This was also part of my scrapped video, so I only had one pretty bad drawing. So it took some getting used to for me. I'm messing with the layout so I can feel more at home. The toolbar was kind of weird, but it's just a little nitpick since, I don't know, I just didn't like the icons that much. This app is amazing. Well, first of all, it's free. That's obvious enough. Another thing about it is that it's very robust. A professional can use this program for the entirety of their career. It's that good. At the worst, you'll just dislike it, which I think is pretty damn good for a drawing software that's completely free.
What about the Steam and Microsoft Store version? Those aren't free.
That, my friend, is to support the wonderful developers behind Krita. They gotta make money somehow so they can keep updating and updating the app. As far as I'm aware, there's no differences between the paid and free versions of the app. So if you get it for free, then you aren't losing anything. One of my small irks and nitpicks is the fact that I had to look up how to make clipping masks, which should be really simple to figure out. I'm still a little confused on how to use it, but I've gotten kind of used to it. Something I wish that Krita had was a big old tutorial, because I didn't find the program to be very user-friendly, at least for me, but maybe I'm just an idiot, so yeah. Something I liked about Krita is that you can move layers from your visible canvas and it won't be cut off or erased. If you don't know what it means, then just let me show you. This is something that isn't in IbisPaintX, and I remember it being very, very annoying when I had to move around objects. So this little feature can just go a long way. When I found out it was possible, I was having a great day. I don't think this feature is in Procreate, which is kinda shocking since it's my gold standard for iPad drawing apps. I like how robust the app is in general. It's Photoshop for free if you really think about it. You can look past the sorta outdated looking interface and truly enjoy this app. The people who like it really like it. And the people who dislike it, they don't hate it. I may not be the biggest fan of this app, but I can't see myself hating it. This app is even better because it's free. It's extremely accessible to illustrators since drawing programs can be really, really expensive. Have you seen these prices? Adobe, I'm looking at you. $50 per month, haven't it? So an app that is free, robust, has animation? Yeah, that's a sweet deal. Krita feels really good to draw on as well, which is the most important aspect of a software made for artists, the feel. If your drawing app feels like then sorry, but no other cool features can save it. You can have a whole bunch of features in your drawing app that are great, but if you fail at making the app feel good, then it doesn't matter. And Krita has this down to a T. Krita has basically everything that you need in an art app. No extra fluff or gimmicky features that 90% of the users won't use, unless you count that text tool. You can also run into some bugs and glitches, but that's okay. I didn't experience any bugs and surprisingly very little to no lag. I know for some users it can be pretty intense to run this app because of how jam-packed it is. So be aware of that if you have a pretty bad computer or a Chromebook. But I have no idea why you would even use a Chromebook. Those things are terrible. But if you have a decent computer, then you can run Krita pretty well, but expect some lag. Honestly, I feel really nitpicky when I was talking about Krita, but those are really fun and easy to talk about. But I also think that some of these detriments should be known since they can hinder user experience. While I do have good things about these apps, I also have to mention flaws. But trust me, all these flaws can be looked past. Maybe in the future, I'll try it out again for a future video or live stream and fall absolutely in love with it. But right now, I'm not a massive fan of it personally. But it's something I'd mess around with here and there because it's genuinely amazing and that animation feature looks pretty good. It reminds me of Clip Studio Paint animation. So again, future video stream where I try it out, that's possible. So if you want a robust free art app with animation features that's completely free and can be used by professionals, then Krita is a great way to go, in my opinion. My opinions and small nitpicks are obviously very subjective and just go down to user preference. And finally, we have Medibang Paint Pro. Medibang Paint is an art software released in 2015. It's pretty lightweight and honestly feels like Clip Studio Paint Lite in a way. Hell, they both have paint at the last part of their names. Medibang Paint is incredibly user-friendly and I was able to get used to the program very quickly compared to Krita. This is also because it felt very similar to Fire Alpaca. I believe they're made by the same people, but I'm not completely sure. Medibang Paint is incredibly user-friendly and not very intimidating at all compared to Krita. It's lightweight and it does its job pretty well. Medibang Paint is basically a beginner's guide to digital art, but you can create some genuinely incredible art with its somewhat limited features. But here's the thing, Medibang Paint is kind of limited, especially with brushes. I'm a massive fan of having tons and tons of brushes to use, and Medibang Paint doesn't do that for me. Something to note about the small amount of brushes though, is that you can add more. That's something I discovered when looking into the app after drawing because it was something that I was curious about. I'm generally used to being spoiled by Clip Studio Paint and having way more brushes, but this is because the brushes in Clip Studio Paint are more organized, so to me it could look like it has more. I'm not a fan of the lack of organization that Medibang Paint has. I'm a stickler for organization. The app can be used by professionals like any other art app. There's probably some crazy f***er out there who makes their professional art and portfolio with MS Paint. There has to be at least one person who did that. Like that one dude who made realistic Santa Claus with MS Paint. I wish that man every night that his pillow side is cold and comfortable. I would most definitely recommend this app to beginners of digital art. It's lightweight, not intimidating, user-friendly, and just useful. There is an alternate version of this app by the same developers, I think, called Fire Alpaca, which is the app I used before upgrading to Clip Studio Paint. I honestly think this version is better, and I probably should have used it. I used to be incredibly pissy at the fact that Fire Alpaca was light mode, and you had to pay for it to get the dark mode version, which I think is really dumb. Medibang Paint is easier on the eyes, obviously, and uses dark as the default. This is a really small point to make, but I think it's worth noting because I'm pissy. I also like Medibang Paint's nicer interface, not much of a difference, but if you compare them, then you notice that Medibang is a little sleeker. I also like that 2 brush slots aren't taken up by the goddamn logo like the buddy Fire Alpaca is over there. You can probably notice how nitpicky this video is, but it's fun to nitpick and it's easier to do. But I would rate these apps overall with an 8 or 9 out of 10, they're all that good. Also on the topic of Fire Alpaca again, is that Medibang Paint is more available on a variety of devices. The thing is everywhere, but Fire Alpaca is only for PC, but maybe in the future it will be more accessible. Remember when I said that IbisPaintX had a subscription and premium service a few minutes ago? Medibang Paint has the same thing. Premium has every single feature available, more materials to use, and additional cloud storage, but I'm not gonna say it sucks. Well, for IbisPaintX it feels a little cheaper, like reordering your gallery is locked behind it. The thing that pissed me off the most about that was that it was an extremely basic feature that should be in every drawing app without a paywall. Medibang Paint isn't really like that. I like that it wasn't some separate Medibang app either. Also, this is just a pet peeve of mine, but I don't really like when there's 2 versions of drawing apps. IbisPaintX has done this, and sometimes it's a little confusing. Not really much of a difference between IbisPaint and IbisPaintX. The only difference is the icon color and the fact that IbisPaint has no app. So I don't really see the point in having 2 versions if the differences are that minuscule. And sometimes it's like Tayasui sketches, where the free version is literally just a demo. I know that's the point of it, and this is just really petty honestly, but I'd rather have the full app released for money instead of 2 versions. I can honestly see myself using this app for like quick doodles when I feel like using more of a lightweight app, and I'd use it casually if I don't feel like using Clip Studio Paint. This app I can see being used by professionals if they bought the premium version, that is. I think the base version, while good, can be somewhat limiting for professionals. I am in no way a professional. I'm 13 for Christ's sake, so I don't even use that much stuff in Clip Studio Paint, which is why I have the Pro version instead of the EX version. So if I didn't use Clip Studio Paint, I would be using Fire Alpaca or Medibang Paint. So my conclusion is that Medibang Paint is an incredible app for beginners and can get the job done. It's pretty damn amazing that it has cloud features and brushes that you can create and import. If you need a simple, reliable, and lightweight drawing software that can import brushes, has a cloud storage, then I would get Medibang Paint Pro. I would honestly use this app over Fire Alpaca, but that's also a good option, and they're mostly the same thing, just Medibang Paint has some more features. The only thing you're really missing is the animation feature in Fire Alpaca, but to be real, it sucks ass, so not much of a trade-off unless you really like it somehow. I honestly wouldn't judge you. I used to create animations in IbisPaintX. Honestly, an animation feature in IbisPaintX sounds cool as hell. They should try making that one day. Here are my honorable mentions. First up is Fire Alpaca. It's an amazing art app for beginners, and it can feel pretty bare bones, but I think that's the point of it. I used Fire Alpaca when I first started doing digital art on my PC. My older cousin enjoys using it as well. I think he's been using it for 2 years now, but I'm not sure. If you need an easy drawing program that isn't demanding on your PC, then you should go for it, but be aware that it's pretty bare bones. And if you want to animate in it, then there's no timeline. Another app is Tayasui Sketches, which I mentioned like a few minutes ago. I wanted to try it out. It was just fine, but the fact that layers were paywalled kind of pisses me off. I was only making a doodle and testing it out anyways, but it definitely is one of those free programs with a massive asterisk. Basically using a demo if you want to use a free version of the program. Sketchbook is a free app on mobile devices. On PC, you're gonna have to pay. It's pretty damn good, and it's definitely different when it comes to its layout. There is an oval with your brush that you can edit your brush size with and stuff. I have heard that quite a few people are fans of this particular app, and to be fair, I think it deserves that love. And those are my honorable mentions. Damn, that was a speed run. Wow, that was a lot of talking for me, wasn't it? Was generally not expecting to sorta dislike Krita since it's said to be the best free drawing app for artists out there, but this brings me to the moral of this video. Would you call it a moral? Maybe. I guess you could say it's the lesson. The drawing software you use doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that you can make good art on any software as long as you put the time into it. I feel like I did Krita pretty damn dirty in this video. So again, I plan on doing a video and live stream about me trying Krita out again and seeing how I feel after a third go. I'm not sure when this will be out, but it will be soon, I think. So stay tuned for that. The stream will probably be like an hour or something. I'm not sure if I'll use my mic, but I digress. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. Bye!